Good day. Over the past few years, the world has experienced a level of disruption and business risk never seen before as the COVID-19 pandemic became central to everything we do. The pandemic forced a short-term focus on immediate operations, and they focus rightly so on survival for both individuals and businesses. The pandemic also highlighted the vulnerabilities and interconnectedness of the current global system, as well as the vulnerabilities of many parts of our society. At the same time, this has encouraged new ways of operating and opened new markets and opportunities to respond to these issues in a strategic and more responsible manner. South Africa, its people and its companies proved remarkably resilient, managing to move the economy back to close to the pre-pandemic levels by the end of 2021. Despite absorbing multiple and repeated health, societal, and economic shocks over the past 2 years. The economic recovery, which started in the second half of 2020 and continued throughout 2021, was underpinned by a strong global rebound driven by a surge in demand for goods, which fueled a strong rally in international commodity prices. Although the positive external position and terms of trade provided a significant boost to the recovery, domestic demand also improved, albeit regularly disrupted by each of the successive waves of COVID-19 infections and related economic lockdowns. Consumer spending grew year on year, buoyed by low interest rates, but in stark contrast, the unemployment rate continued to climb to an alarming height, reaching a record high of 34.9% in the third quarter, and reminding us that the most vulnerable in society have been most impacted by the pandemic. Sub-Saharan African economies generally benefited from favorable commodity prices and firm global demand, while the relaxation of COVID-19 containment measures facilitated the recovery of activity. Global economy also demonstrated significant resilience through the pandemic, bouncing back faster than expected. Financial market conditions also improved in 2021, while equity markets rallied. Although it may be too soon to tell what the impact of the recent Russian invasion of Ukraine would be, there will likely be lasting implications of geopolitics, as well as commodities, energy policy, and the energy transition into the future. With regard to economic stability, sadly, in July 2021, we saw violent civil unrest in KwaZulu-Natal and parts of Gauteng in July, which had a devastating impact on South Africans and our economy, as well as our attractiveness as an investment destination. Our primary focus during this time was to ensure the safety of our employees and clients. Gratefully, none of our employees were injured, although we suffered some damage to our branch and ATM networks. Given the psychological and physical impact, as a responsive corporate citizen, we increased our focus on providing counseling services to traumatized employees and families, and Nedbank came together to source and deliver more than 106 tons of food parcels to our colleagues, their families, and their communities in the affected areas. Record high unemployment levels and poverty in South Africa, combined with political contestation, increases the risk of new waves of riots and looting. Business cannot abandon its role of providing constructive activism. Our role is to be a partner, not a bystander, in the success of the countries where we operate. The accelerated implementation of structural economic reform remains key to South Africa's longer-term prospects. Now more than ever, individual South Africans, business and labor need to work together to help the government in overcoming the obstacles that lie ahead of us. From an ESG, environmental, social, and governance imperative, while ESG principles have become to dominate the global investment arena in recent years, there still seems to be a widespread misperception that these are three separate imperatives. In reality, it is not possible to separate the impact of humankind's actions, that those actions are having on the environment, from those felt by society. Nor is it possible to practice good governance in isolation from the two other vital considerations. Nedbank is often anecdotally known as South Africa's Green Bank, thanks to our established reputation for demonstrating a strong, integrated environmental and social sustainability commitment over the years. This integrated sustainability philosophy, which underpins the fulfillment of our purpose of using our financial expertise to do good for individuals, for families, business, and society, has informed our business strategies and our societal upliftment and developmental commitments for a number of decades. The good in our purpose represents the group's understanding of and committed to the need for systemic resolutions to the challenges facing society, with many of the most pressing of these challenges being created or exacerbated by climate change. In April 2021, we announced the adoption of a market-leading energy policy designed to guide our redirecting of investment towards cleaner energy alternatives, and outlined our commitment over time to aligning our business strategy, policies, mandates, and incentives with the Paris Agreement. As outlined in our energy policy, we will scale up our market-leading commitment towards the fast-growing renewable energy sector to support a just transition to cleaner energy. We continued to focus on damaging our transformation agenda towards a more inclusive society. For the fourth consecutive year, Nedbank achieved a Level 1 Broad-Based B contributor status for 2021 under the amended FSC, Financial Sector Conduct. Pleasingly, female representation at board level improved to 28%. Notwithstanding ongoing and proactive engagement with shareholders in the context of the difficult and unusual COVID-19 environment, we were disappointed with the 66% vote of support for the group's remuneration policy at the May 2021 AGM, this slightly below the 75% JSE threshold, while the remuneration implementation vote was at 80%. The Remuneration Committee has considered the feedback and made suitable changes to the 2022 policy, in particular shifting back to having 100% of executive long-term incentives awards being subject to performance conditions as we emerge from the COVID-19 environment. With our increased focus on ESG, we have incorporated these factors into individual executive performance goal commitment contracts, as well as introduced selected ES deliverables into the performance conditions of the group's long-term incentives, with the G covered by Malus and Global. Nedbank's people-centered culture was highlighted in its response and support of the workforce during the unprecedented context of the pandemic. Ongoing group executive engagements, surveys, and other interactive communication channels provided information to ensure a timeless response to various matters, including mental health, grief and loss, as well as addressing COVID-19 and vaccination myths. Support was given with implementation of enabling policies, while the resilience of our workforce was built through extensive well-being programs and learning solutions. There is no doubt that there's a significant transition taking place in global banking with regard to digitization. At Nedbank, we invested in developing key technological and operational capabilities that have enabled a sound platform for competitive advantage in the coming years. The technology investments that we have made drive improved client experiences, as well as productivity improvements through digitized services and process efficiencies within our targeted operating model, the TOM program, and our strategic portfolio tilt SPT strategy for selected market share growth and easier cross-selling through digitized products and sales capabilities. The board is satisfied with the progress made on the 2023 strategic and financial targets and the progress the technological investments have yielded in delivering market-leading client experiences and improved efficiency measures. Kleptocracy is a global challenge. Given their role in the economy, banks and financial services institutions across the globe often find themselves entangled with off-body clients and dealing with onerous reporting obligations, as well as with past transactions that need to be reviewed, sometimes with regulatory and legal implications. The board has taken careful note of the Zondo Commission's report and highlights that based on our review of the report, no adverse findings have been made against Nedbank. Part of the report recommended further investigation of certain transactions involving Nedbank, where Regiment's Capital acted as client advisors in the period 2009 to 2011. These investigations have been ongoing for some time, and Nedbank has been operating fully with the same context. The Zondo Commission ran out of time before submitting part 1 of the report to the presidency. And as a result, and as stated in the report itself, Nedbank has not yet had an opportunity to be heard on certain matters dealt with in the report. We remain firmly of the view that there has been no wrongdoing on the part of Nedbank. The board and management commissioned detailed, legally privileged internal and independent external reviews of the transactions, which allowed the Nedbank board to conclude that Nedbank acted as a reasonable banker and had at no time acted unlawfully. We will continue to cooperate fully with any investigations undertaken by the appropriate authorities. We reiterate that we have zero tolerance for kleptocracy and corruption, and we expect all our stakeholders, including our clients, service providers, and employees, to conduct themselves ethically and with integrity. Raymond Albert Kropp built a globally successful business, McDonald's, based on the mantra, none of us is as good as all of us. Guided by our corporate purpose to use our financial expertise to do good for individuals, for families, businesses, and society, we've done well for the common good of our business and all our stakeholders. I'm humbled and grateful for the 27,303 Nedbank employees who continue to serve our clients and do great things. Thank you to my fellow board members and Chief Executive Mike Brown for his leadership during this unprecedented time. In line with the board's succession process, the search for a new chairperson will commence soon, and we aim to conclude this process well in advance for my retirement from the board in May 2023. I welcome Phumzile Langeni to the boards and look forward to her valuable contribution given her experience in the areas of commerce, financial services, mining, and resources. We continued to lose colleagues, loved ones, and friends to COVID-19 in 2021. Our deepest sympathies to our employees, to our clients and stakeholders who lost loved ones in this period. Unfortunately, 2021 also saw the death of our former chairman, Vasi Naidu, after a long battle with cancer. Vasi loved his time at Nedbank, and we continue to miss him dearly. I know the prayers of the entire Nedbank family are with his wife Sheila and his family. Ikintsugi is the centuries-old Japanese art of fixing broken pottery with a special lacquer dusted with powdered gold, silver, or platinum. Instead of discarding treasures when they become broken, they are repaired with jewel-like metal. While they may have once been broken or weakened by an event, they are now strengthened and more valuable because of the repair. This carries a message of resilience. History shows that in times of disruption, resilience depends on adaptability and decisiveness. The foundation of future growth are often laid as societies respond to the weaknesses that crisis expose organizations to. As we turn our focus to an inclusive growth agenda, I'm confident that a resilient and growing Nedbank is well placed to lead as it adapts to this changing, uncertain future. We hope you enjoy reading our integrated report, and I thank you very much.